Nancy, thank you, thank you. So our next speaker is a sharp, outspoken young person from East Multnomah County, someone who's grown up riding the bus. We talk about how important it is to build a culture of using public transportation at a young age, and Shay Johnson is that type of young person. She depends on TriMet and is educating herself about the value of public transportation in her life, from walking, access to school and work, and its impact on our natural environment. Please welcome Shay.
Hello everybody, my name is Jailisha, but I'm known everywhere as Shay, and I'm a frequent bus rider of TriMet. Oh, yes, sorry. And I'm going to let you know all why I'm speaking out. Like everybody else, I ride the bus for a variety of reasons. I have family farther than walking distance. I have to get to the doctor on occasion because I'm a proud and expecting parent, and just because I don't have a car to get around. There's only a few flaws in which I personally feel forced to speak on, because I'm being affected in a way I never really thought to come up in this economic depression. That's financially. These rising fares and service cuts, in my own words, are ridiculous. I say ridiculous for a couple of reasons. One, because not everyone has a job or income and just flat out cannot pay for the fare which is already required, and let alone the increases to come. People still have responsibilities and appointed duties that require mobility that may be in the area TriMet will no longer serve due to service cuts. Second, because people may live on a street and are mentally and physically unable to control automobiles to get ready to go due to the service cuts. And that person may solely rely only on TriMet because they have no other way of getting around. And that is not fair for the public to have to come with a plan B when TriMet promised equity. That's just not fair. As I grow, I would love to see an affordable, reliable, and accessible bus system. And what our organization stands for is power and equity. I feel empowered and encouraged to say what I have to say because our organization gives us all a voice. And I hope TriMet is listening to the voice that my organization has given us. Being involved with OPAL is one of the best things I've ever done in a long time. OPAL means organizing people, activating leaders, and that's what OPAL has done for me, activated my inner leader. So what I'm saying is thank you to everyone who has came out today and all of our volunteers and all of our workers that have worked with us, that we've been planning this for so long. Thank you.
Shay Johnson. So our next speaker is another youth who over the last year has consistently been testifying about the needs of youth and public transportation before TriMet's board of directors. Cameron Johnson deeply loves his community and sees the bus system as a fundamental part of his community. We want to welcome to the stage Cameron Johnson.
They say that you can lead a nation with a microphone. I just want to lead a group of people with my story. I'm a 16-year-old frequent bus rider. I'm homeschooled, and I'd love to say that I love my community center. TriMet service cuts nearly took all that away from me, however. See, TriMet's my main source of transportation, as is for many teenagers. To someone around my age who doesn't have a car, no one wants to ride from their parents. It's depending on their schedule. It's unreliable. And at times, it's just plain old embarrassing to show up in the back of your parents' minivan. Walking's too slow sometimes, and biking too difficult. So bus is the primary choice of transit among teenagers because it means freedom and it means independence. No more relying on minivans. Mount Scott Community Center is probably the best thing that's ever happened to me other than being born. I can take cost-effective classes to gain skills. Attend free events every Friday night that are pretty much like parties exclusively for teens, and they often give very inexpensive trips to nearby amazing locations. All of these are exclusively for teens. They give you invaluable skills and valuable friends who have helped me change from the autistic kid I was into a lively, daring, and caring young man. I don't know what I'd do without him. This year, a nearby community center, Southwest Community Center and Peninsular Park Community Centers, lost every penny of their teen funding. Every teenager who relied on these lives, or whose lives were changed by the way these community centers performed, they lost everything. There's no other community center in the entire west side of Portland other than Southwest Community Center that has teen funding. and that community center is going to lose it. See, I'm tying this in because one of the main links between Southwest Community Center's loss of funding and the service cuts is that Line 1, the only bus that goes anywhere near there, has been cut to extremely low usage. It hardly runs at all now. I was one of the lucky ones. I attend Mount Scott Community Center, which escaped, except for increased pricing, almost completely unscathed. If I had lived in Southwest Portland, I would have lost the events. It'd be hard to maintain my friendships as I don't go to school. And all the amazing experiences I've had would never happen again. If I never had a community center, I never would have met any of my amazing friends who I love so dearly, and I would still be awkward autistic like I was before.
Speak the truth.
And many teens around the city are about to experience my worst nightmare. This was all caused by service cuts, and this could all happen again if more service cuts happen. Next year, it might be you, it might be me who's affected by this domino effect, like service cuts and fare increases cause. This is why I say no to service cuts.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Thanks so much, Cameron Johnson. So our next speaker is from one of our sister organizations, one of the 14 endorsers of the Rally for the Bus. Nicole Duffy is a community member and mother of 3 beautiful kids, representing the Josiah Hill Clinic, which works to keep children in their homes safe from environmental hazards. I'd like to welcome Nicole Duffy.
Thank you, everybody. For my family, TriMet has been a lifeline. Cars break down and living situations change. But as long as I was near a bus line, I could always make sure that I had the necessities for my children. Right now, times are hard for all of us. But for families who use the bus line regularly, it's about to get a whole lot harder. As a mother who has relied on TriMet to get to work, drop my children off at daycare, and get groceries, and take my children to doctor's visits, it was always imperative that the bus line was reliable, not only being on time, but also having times that would allow me to get to my job promptly. Without the system that was in place, my family could not have provided for ourselves. Having to rely on other means like unemployment or even welfare. Sorry, my daughter's really excited. TriMet has been a staple that has held Greater Portland together for many years. The concern now is what impact will it have if TriMet continues with the change they are going to make. Bringing the price up for riders is only going to be a detriment to families already on a severely tight budget. I do not believe that parents should have to choose between eating and buying their bus pass. Parents who ride the bus should be supported and feel a sense of empowerment. Instead, the fare increase and service cuts will impact them negatively on many different levels. For a moment, stop and imagine yourself as a parent of 2 or more and getting on an overcrowded bus with all of those children. Tired from a long day's work and feeling quite overwhelmed because you still have many stops and even a transfer. Then remember that this is a life for many of us, just trying to make it work. We are the people who are trying to make it better for our children, fighting and struggling every day to be the best parent to our children and to provide for their needs. TriMet has helped uplift and fulfill the needs of our community for so long that we have become dependent. We need to stand up for our working parents who cannot stand here and speak in front of you today, and help them raise a generation of children who value working hard. Parents who will have a greater chance at spending time helping them with their homework or putting a hot meal on the table. Because we would not allow TriMet to make these cuts in the hours they're running their buses or increase these rates. My hope is that TriMet will see the reality of how these changes will impact the well-being of our beautiful city. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nicole.